Is it on?
Okay, it's on.
Yeah. Okay.
Good morning. Zach Valerio, Fairway Mortgage.
Happy Friday, everybody. Vince Davis with Conway Realty. I'm a lot less stressed today than I was on Monday. I got a lot of messages about, God damn, you look terrible.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
A
lot of my buddies, my brother was like, man, you look stressed. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's...
But I'm better today. So
those are
good.
friends. Dude,
yeah,
look at that. You look terrible. Look how bad you look.
Yeah, I think it was just more like I was doing this a lot. Like I'd stretch my neck when I get stressed out. And I was doing this, and my brother was like, you look
terrible.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
So solar panels, we want to talk about those today. How they affect you as a seller, how they affect you as a borrower.
Mm-hmm. Really, debt to income as a whole, because it's kind of an interesting concept, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's not as easy as just this is how much you make and this is how much you have going out. Like that's a simple rule, but there's more to it than just that.
So this came about working with a young couple, found them the perfect house. The listing didn't say anything with the light, this thing's blocking the light. Listing didn't say anything about solar, right? So we're looking at the top of what they can afford, which most people do. That's what normal people do, right?
Which is
unfortunate.
We've talked about that a couple times too. Like just because you're pre-approved up to, let's say 350,000, you have to understand that it starts getting dicey when I say that the most you can buy is 350, because something like this is what could turn the deal upside down.
So we walk into the property, see the Solar City panel inside the garage, go outside, see panels all over the roof. There's no mention anywhere of it. But so we don't know if it's owned or leased. But if it's leased, you have to realize that that affects the deal on a very fundamental basis.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So to oversimplify, let's say for the sake of argument, you qualify for a $1,000 loan or a $1,000 a month payment, $1,000 a month payment. So you can buy, I don't know what kind of house you can buy for a $1,000 a month payment.
Let's say 150.
Depending on your interest rate. And
yeah,
depending on
150.
Anyways, now you're looking at assuming a lease payment on a solar panel, and that lease payment is, let's just, again, to oversimplify, say $200 a month. Now all of a sudden your mortgage payment can't be any more than $800. You've just lost 20% in this scenario. So what does that translate into a home value maybe? So
kind of from step 1 to step 3 or whatever, just to backtrack. So when you look at a home that has a solar in place, we have to hit you for that debt. So when we look at putting your payment together, we're looking at principal, interest, homeowner's insurance, mortgage insurance, HOA, and if it has a solar, that goes into that equation as well. So when I tell Vince or anybody really that's going out to buy, they always want to know what's the most I can buy.
Right. That's the number one question.
Yeah. And I'll say, okay, here's the deal. You can go up to 350, but it has to be the perfect house at 350. Because if you're looking at a home that has
an enormous HOA,
property taxes that are higher than normal parts of town, like Vince had an HOA that's $200 a month, or a solar, because we're talking about that's $150 a month or something. Now your DTI is too high. So just because you can go up to 350 doesn't mean that every house at 350 is still going to work
you can buy
for the loan. So those solar things, I think, are becoming more and more common too. I'm starting to see more of them. I was just telling Vince off camera, I never look at the contracts, so I don't know how long they are. And Vince was telling me they're about 20 years. I just look at what the payment is because I have to factor that in. And Tesla just bought Solar City. So Tesla's doing a lot of them. And their customer service to get the paperwork for the solar stuff is a nightmare, by the way. They're very hard to deal with. Like, very hard.
Well, on our side, they usually do approve the lease transfer, but at the same time,
to get any of the paperwork is just a nightmare.
But I think the real point is that you can't have the same house if it's got solar panels on it. At least not for the same payment. You're either going to have to put more down, or you're going to have a higher payment. You have to qualify for the higher payment. Mm-hmm. And as a seller, if you're selling houses, I know Zach doesn't represent sellers. Well, they do when they turn around and buy later. Be real careful if you're going to put solar panels on your house. If they're owned, those are great. Those are actually considered an asset. They can be transferred. It becomes part of the real estate. It has value. But if you're trying to sell a house that has leased solar panels on it, first of all, they're leased. You don't own them. They're not going to add value because you don't own them. Mm-hmm. You can't sell what you don't own. And it becomes a detriment because any buyer that's looking at your house has to be able to qualify for more money than what you're asking for your house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it makes 100%. So if you're looking at a $200,000 house that doesn't have solar panels on it, and then you go look at a house that's $200,000 and it has solar panels on it, you really need to qualify for a house that's $220,000 or $225,000
to buy the $200,000
house because of the additional debt we have to hit you for in the monthly payment. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense.
And I think that's why there's the confusion. I think that's why I wanted to make this video, is because there is a lot of confusion out there.
Yeah, I mean, everything, all the way down, too.
Lease solar bad, own solar good.
Yeah,
How's that for simplifying it?
Because I try to walk people through every part of putting together their payment. And by that, I mean, you know, when you go to look for a homeowner's insurance quote, a lot of people will just call up Progressive recently, whoever their car insurance people are through.
We just got one that was astronomically high.
Yeah, and they'll just say, hey, I need to add homeowner's insurance. Perfect, here's your quote. And then they'll send it to me. And I've seen a couple coming back at $180 to $200 a month. And I'm thinking, this is outrageous. You know, call up. I have a really good friend, Morgan McDevitt, who works for Liberty Mutual. So that's a shout out to her. And she'll give me something back that's usually between $40 and $50. So you're lowering your monthly income, and your debt to income ratio is coming down, which is what I always want to see, because nothing's worse than bumping up against that threshold and just being nervous that something as small as a mortgage insurance quote can come back and push the deal, you know, into
out of reach.
Yeah, into this place we don't want it to be. So homeowners insurance quotes, solar panels, if you love the house and you can deal with the HOA and the property taxes and it still makes sense in the payment, we can do it. But there's just certain things that kind of keep an eye out for when shopping for a house. So it might have a beautiful open kitchen, but if it has a $225 solar panel payment, you know, I'd maybe look for another one.
So, and we're almost done. I just want to add one more thing. One thing that a lot of people kind of argue with me about is, okay, so I'm paying $200 a month on their solar lease, but doesn't that save me the money on my power bill? So why does it make any difference, right? And that's a true story.
It is.
Once the house is yours and you're living in it and you've already qualified for the loan, your financial picture may not change that much. In fact, sometimes solar is a true benefit. I've seen people with $5 a month electrical bills.
Yeah.
Even with a pool, it's crazy. You don't have to qualify for your utility bills when you're buying a house.
No.
The loan officer doesn't need to see SRP bills or natural gas bills or your cell phone bill or any other utility. You do have to see that lease payment. They do have to see the HOA payment. They do have to see the property taxes. So it's
a revolving debt.
And it's not
solar panel's revolving debt. So, I mean, that's why we have to look at it. You know, your cell phone you can turn off if you wanted to. So I don't look at that. Car payments are revolving debt. You know, I look at that kind of stuff. If you really want to save money on your utilities, I always tell people
turn your thermostat
down. Call up SRP and get on their yearly plan, which is awesome. If the house is, you know, running SRP, I don't really know a trick for APS, but yeah, I mean, solar is cool, but it just makes things a little bit more
keep your eyes open. So if you have any questions about solar panels, ask us, okay? Because that seems to be something that's causing a lot of confusion. And I felt really bad for these guys and I haven't even told them, I'm going to have to reach them before they post this video.
Yeah.
I don't want them to find out about this from this video.
That would probably be helpful.
But yeah, the solar panels are going to kill the deal. So,
and if you have questions about how much you really can buy, give me a call, because they have these cool mortgage calculators online where they say how much do you make, and they're really generic, and it's like, you can afford a $420,000 house, and you might not be able to afford a $420,000 house. So it only takes me about 20 minutes to really put it together and give you a really drilled down idea of what you can buy.
Okay. So is that it?
That's it. That's all I got today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching. Again, this is Zach Verlario. He's at Fairway.
Vince Davis, Conway Realty. Thanks for joining us. I like these.
Yeah, they're fun.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.